Greetings, everybody! Hey, welcome to Lab 6, right here. Cratering in the lunar surface. There it is. And this one will be available to you on Monday, June 15th. And it'll be due, like usual, the following Tuesday, which is June 23rd. You'll have a chance to look at a lot of interesting pictures and figure out what some of it means. This will be, I think, an interesting experience for you. This guy right here, by the way, is named Copernicus. This is a crater on the moon. Craters are named after dead people. Copernicus is, remember, the author of the sun-centered system, famous for that. But the crater is almost 100 kilometers across. That makes it about 60 miles across. That's humongous. This is an enormous crater. It's relatively recent, just less than 1 billion years old, which on the moon is relatively recent. And notice it has central peaks right here. The central peaks are not volcanoes, they're rebound features. It's like when you drop a marble in a glass of water. The water rebounds into a spike. This spike froze. Notice that the terraced interior walls are very obvious. This is quite a crater. And even the rim is still relatively sharp, although not tremendously. Now, when this thing occurred, a lot of material was thrown out. This is called the ejecta blanket, and there it is right there, thrown out. Spectacular crater on the moon. Now, here's the introduction to our lab. You're going to be going to a few websites on this one. It's a little different than we've done in the past, I guess. Anyway, this will be done due June 23rd, but the answer sheet you're going to actually make up on a sheet of lined paper, regular paper, and put your answers on it, and that's what you're going to be uploading to me. And I'll tell you what that exactly is in 2 seconds. It's spelled out in the directions here. The lab has 3 parts, part 1, 2, and 3, cleverly named, you have to admit. And when you get there, you should make sure you do what it says. Part 1, all I'm going to have you do there is read a few pages in Seeds, where he introduces impact craters, very important thing. Now, part 2 begins where you go to a website, and this is where you're going to begin reading. This is on that website. You'll have to scroll down to section 3.2. where they give you the background on what it is to discern relative ages on the moon. That is, the sequence of events that occurred. And this basically gives you a nice background of that. It's not very difficult, and I think you'll like it. This is the first actual activity you're going to do. It's called Activity 3.2.1. And this involves these Apollo landing areas, and what you're going to be doing is actually going to a different website. I've given you a link to get to the high resolution versions of these. Here's what it looks like. And there they are. This is the Apollo 12 landing site. This is the Apollo 16 landing site. And what you do is when you get to these things, you're going to click on them, because then you'll be able to see that some of the craters are actually named, and you can see that those banners on the screen much better that way. Now, this is the second. The first question has about what? A through I, several parts. The second question really refers to this area. This is called Mare Nectaris, and these are the 2 craters. This is for Castorius, and the other one, and here's Rose, the Raid crater. When you read a little bit more about this, you'll know what that stuff is. And this one will be sufficient. You won't have to go to another website to actually understand the sequence of events, because they're going to ask you about which all 4 craters happened in what sequence. That's what this thing is all about. Here's the third part. We go to a totally different website. This is the Consolidated Lunar Atlas. It's an online atlas of moon images. And you're going to be looking for Archimedes. I'll show you that in a minute. That's a big crater, and also Aristillus. We're going to be looking for both of those things. By the way, Seeds has in Figure 16.6, you can see a little moon map, and you can see just where Mare Imbrium actually is. That's the large basin in which these other 2 craters sit. And Archimedes itself is about 1/8 of an inch to the right of the M and Imbrium on that figure. It's not a very big figure, frankly, but it might be fun to look for it. Now, you're going to be particularly interested let's go to it right here. Here's the image you're going to be doing a lot of work with in part 3. Now, so that you know, this is Archimedes. Everybody got it? Archimedes, all right? And this is Aristillus, okay? And you'll be able to look at these things in some detail and see what's going on with them. I'm going to have you compare these two craters quite closely in terms of how they look inside and how they look outside, sort of what I gave you a tour of with Copernicus. And then this, so you know, is part of the Mare Imbrium. This is the very fluid lava that came in sometime. Well, that's what you're going to be finding out. I don't want to give that away too much, but it sits in the large basin. The actual basin of Imbrium is several hundred kilometers across. It can't even fit into this image, and that's due to obviously a large asteroid early in the history of the moon. Anyway, you're going to be looking at these things, and I'm going to ask you some specific questions about it, and that's it, I think. Have fun.